start from the just person sitting on the left hand side of the corner, like, and you end it by the door. So you're going to start.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shalom.
It's kind of like talk both.
Okay, my name is Shalom. Okay, I'm here to learn this workshop. I do music, so I want to learn more, and also I'm going to.
Do you play any instruments?
Yes.
What do you play?
I play piano, solo guitar, and bass guitar.
Wow. So we're going to hide all these instruments. So what do you do when you are not like playing music and playing instruments?
What I do? Just a student.
No, I'm again. Okay, next person.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm Molly.
Hi, morning.
Is that Molly? Yeah. I'm a UI student and poet, I think. And
I can't even hear you.
I said I'm a UI student and poet.
Whoa.
And I think artist.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What's your medium?
Like you mean art? I don't know. I think I consider myself an artist that does not paint or draw. Like I just like.
You're more of like a curator. You
Yeah.
do the art when you say.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Did you say?
Was I say something? She has finished.
Thanks so much.
Oh,
Molly has finished.
Okay. My name is Dari. I'm a writer of fantasy and science fiction. And I'm an audiophile, I guess. I listen to a lot of music, very too much. And I also paint sometimes. And I'm here to learn about poetry because it's something I don't take seriously. But I know it's possible for me to do.
I'm giving you guys a chance to boast about yourselves and just like rub your own egos, and you're all there acting all humble and don't mind me, I'm just a small tiny person in this small tiny town. I can only play like 10 musical instruments and nothing more. What now? Please, the person next, don't disappoint. I beg in Jesus' name, I'm begging you, please.
Good evening. My name is Gabriel. I'm a student.
Another one.
And I'm actually a prose writer. I used to write poems before, but that I think it's not for me. So I write prose these days, but then sometimes it's very heavy, all this poetry stuff, poetry inside. I've been to my mother's workshop, and I've also published in a few platforms.
What?
So I've done publishing in a few platforms.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and what else? So when I'm not a writer, I do freelancing to get some money. Yeah, that's basically all. Okay, something interesting about me that I don't really say somewhere. I come from Akwa Ibom, I'm schooling in Platon, but right now I'm coming from Ife. So that's a lot of. So I actually like to be. I just want to. Actually, what really interests me is the musical part, how it's going to connect with all the poetry and the Java stuff. I'm looking for something. That's all.
Yeah, that's all.
Do not call me Daniela. It's over Daniela. I am a creative. Sometimes I write, sometimes I don't. And that's really about it.
Have you been published?
Oh yeah, that's it. I've been published on Queen's Magazine. I've been published on what's it called? They changed the name recently, but before it was Creative Freelance Writers, and I run it. What?
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I was on the 7th edition of the Freedom Magazine. and also because it's shortly set for and stuff like that. I run a poetry page. I write poetry mostly. My pen name is the Dancing Fed. These days I act, and that's about it.
Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Ade. I'm going to sit down here and boast about myself. I'm a writer, a feminist, I'm queer, so that nobody gets it twisted. I'm actually a lesbian. I'm a researcher. I research mostly into Yoruba queer histories. What else? That's basically all I can boast of. I've been published on several platforms. Actually, that's how I live. I live by writing. If I don't write, I don't go job. My first book was a story shortlisted for the Energy Prize for literature in 2010 or 2011 thereabouts. I write a lot of fantasies. I'm trying to write science fiction now. Actually, I have a science fiction story that I've been battling with. I want something for at the end of the month so I can make some money. My trilogy on Efushiton, Animura, and the women that lived in pre-colonial Nigeria. Yeah, basically. Okay, yeah, my current novel is titled Black Photo Chronicles. It's just 2005. You guys should buy it. So I will not start today. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Bob.
Hi, Bob.
And I'd like to define myself first of all as a journalist. I got trained in journalism in Ghana and Germany in 2008. If I'm not doing journalism, I write books, I write poetry. And the reason I'm here is basically because I want to find out how I could turn the poetry into music. From what the man from Akwa Ibom said, basically the same thing. I published about 9 books, 10 books, 2 volumes of poetry. Writing another one, trying to see if I can finish it. But basically, it's because I want to see how I can translate my poetry into music. Because music and poetry they seem to go together when you have the accompaniment of musical instruments in the poem. And so that's basically what I'm doing. Thank you.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
My name is Leo.
Your name is what?
Leo.
Leo. Hi, Leo.
So, I guess I write. Well, I write. But I don't have a list of published, we have been published, but mostly I don't submit, so I write. But apart from writing, okay, the music aspect, I don't play any instruments, but I can appreciate good sound. So, yeah.
My name is Abimbola. Okay, first of all, I'm a lover of art, like all forms of art. But I'm more into theater. I act. I play percussion instruments, wooden gong,
Wow.
metal gong, wooden clef,
Wow.
drums sometimes.
Oh my God.
I write poetry, even though I've not really been published. I think I've been published on some online stuff. I like writing short stories too. Sometimes I cook. I run Owashibi delicacies. So Owashibi delicacies.
Okay.
Yes, so we cook basically Nigerian foods. I sketch. I paint sometimes. I like to make crafts, paper crafts, wooden crafts. I just like to experiment with art. I think that's about it. Yeah.
My name is Richard Ugochukwu. You call me any of course.
People call you what?
Any of both, Richard or John. Okay. I just completed a master's degree in African Studies. I write everything that can be written, except for drama. I haven't figured out drama yet. I'm a critic of television, actually, especially American animated comedy. My master's thesis was on the comedy of Seth MacFarlane, so Family Guy, American Dad, Ted. My master's degree was in African diaspora studies, so it was on the lingering racism of American comedy, but I focus specifically on Seth MacFarlane's comedy. I work as an editor. I luckily have helped edit some of the most significant collections of poetry that have come out recently. What else do I do? Well, I survive by helping researchers articulate their research properly. I'm kind of like a research assistant for hire. That's what I also do. I am the research assistant for the director of the Institute of African Studies. So research is mostly what I do. I'm planning for a PhD. I've been published in a number of places. Oxford University Mobility Forum published me. That was the last place I published me. I published an expound. And hoping to win a Grammy Award for praising myself the most.
Sorry. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Yosola.
Hi,
I'm a writer on prose fiction. Yeah. I do some music too. Of course, I don't play instruments. Nobody should ask me that. But I can sing, and yeah. So I do that. I write and do music. That's what I'm about, basically.
Okay, my name is King. Alright. Okay, my name is King. I'm a visual artist. I'm a visual artist. I'm a visual artist. And sometimes these days actually oil, which is a new so I'm learning work with. I do write, so I'm learning work with. So I do write, so I'm learning. So I do write that I do. Some of them are accompanied by some of them are literally too. Some of them are literally too. Yeah, literally too. Yeah, but yeah, I don't write like long. I don't write like long. But I remember actually when I was. But I remember actually when I read young. I remember actually when I read young. I only read them have pictures. So I'm not a big one. So I'm not a big one. So I'm not a big gun. Big reader. What else? I do write. I guess that's what else. I guess that's what else. And then I play an instrument. And then I play an instrument. And then I play an instrument. I play the rhythm one. The rhythm one. Yes, I got it on. I'm also self-taught. I'm also self-taught. I like music. And I know I can sing. And I know I can sing. And I know I can sing. I think yes. You can't sing. Share next to everyone. Share from a couple more things. Okay, so number one, dancing. Number one, when I like started get as established writers. But I'm going to like, I'd like to also like talk about, I'd like to also like talk about, I'd like to also like talk about, and I'm not going to like here. I'd like us to be talk about, I'd like us to be talk about, I'd like us to be talk about colonizing African literature and colonizing music, colonizing art, music, medium, arts, medium, arts, because the work of decolonization is very, very important. Work of decolonization is very, very important. I'll give you an anecdote. I'll give you an anecdote. When I wrote my first story, it was a true story, except for my white, who started asking questions about, who started asking questions about, what person I had to fight for every book, and that seemed to come to my norm, and that's because by the time because by the time I wrote 4 years, another 3 years to write, another 3 years to write, another 3 years because I had a big published work, because I had also very, because it was also very, and it was the expression and the manner of written, the book was sent to many Nigerian journalists out of their experience and why I still had the same trilogy, which focuses on trilogy, which focuses on this race, which now focuses on this race. Now called this space time, now called colonial time, focuses colonial time, where women ways of life, where women was very important for colonial times. That was very important for colonial times. That was very important for me. I want you guys because the first myth I want to because the first myth I want to homosexuality is African. Homosexuality and see the representation of everybody that was representation of everybody that was representation of every mother that was represented and every mother that was represented and every mother that was represented. I want to make assistant man, assistant man, that's like beyond Bob's experience or what young Bob that's like what young Bob because Bob can't tell knowledge. He has never met can't tell knowledge. He has never met can't tell me. He has never met a word yesterday. Who we refer to the ideas. I found very offensive ideas. I found very offensive ideas. I found very offensive because I didn't want to show my face because I just want to show my face. I found very offensive. I just want to show my face. I also want you to like experience. I also want you to like experience. I also want you to like experience things that are not like beyond your comfort zone. We have been trained to use our experiences of the world, our experiences to narrow our thoughts, to narrow our thoughts, to narrow our thoughts. We have been English now, we know anything outside of anything outside, anybody that's English. Anybody that's how you should raise those people, we know how you should raise those people, we know how you should raise those people. Why is English as why is English as a home art? Why is English as home art? English as language power of this place, language power, science, language power, science, language and science. In my research, I found out that actually English is powerful and English is so powerful and English is so and English is so also two things that I like also two things that I like those are also new research I like to learn about new research I want to learn about new research I want to learn about who are done and that's the people who are trying to that's the people who are trying to who are publishing who are published who are experienced who are experienced and adventurous as I saw today adventurous as I saw today adventurous as I saw today this, and I do believe firmly that, and I do believe firmly that, and I do believe firmly that Africa as a whole, although I don't believe in that word, although I don't believe in that word, although I don't believe in that word, because Africa was not there, when them was inside, when them was inside, just when them was inside, just had their own economy, just had their own economy, ways of living, ways of living, and everything is not living, yes, everything is not living, yes, what is going on, culture and tradition, yes, what is going on, culture and tradition, what is tradition, culture, I use it also tradition. I use it also. So I use it also. So I asked so I asked so that I asked so that go to so that we can go something outside, outside to see life outside, to see life differently, to see life differently. Our deeply knowledgeable, deeply knowledgeable, philosophical. I don't think that person has a person. I don't think that person has a person. I don't think that person has a person. If you listen very well, and if you listen very well, and kind of if you listen very well, kind of if you speaking like bad, kind of English, we go like bad English, we go bad. But here's somebody who, here's somebody who was like, here's somebody who was like, that's and these are my capabilities, and that's why these are my capabilities, and that's why these are my capabilities, and that's why I'm artist, and that's what futures are artists, and that's what futures are artists. So I would like us to like, so I would like us to like, so I would like us to like talk about, I like us talk about, let me know that, I like us talk about, let me know that, I like us talk about literature, most important literature ever encountered, literature ever encountered, and you revise let's have so let's have I'm not about what book I'm not talking about what book I'm not talking about what book I was as writers or as writers because I was as writers actually like I won't change one that actually like I won't change one that actually like you change what you saw the words you see the words and that's and yeah. No, you didn't make me angry. No, you didn't make me angry. No, you didn't make me angry. Very, very sexist. Very, very sexist. Very, very sexist. The question can also be somebody wants. The question can also be somebody wants. The question can also be somebody wants.
You cannot stop it. You cannot stop it. You cannot stop it. So we just want to say today. If I was to say something about if I was to say something about if I was to say something about the book I made some read. I made some was a long time ago. Made some was a long time ago. Had his friend. It was a long time ago. Had his friend. The things we did together. Had his friend. The guys we did together. For all the books I read originally, and for all the books I read originally, and for all the books I read originally, I knew things about you. I knew things about you. I knew things about you. And you too got some lands. So he too got some lands. So there was a book that put law. There was a book that put law. There was a book that put law. We found a book. We found a book. We found something to today. Something to something had that people would be. I stay. People would be. I stay. People might. I stay at night. Broke guys. At night. Broke guys. I talk to the same guy. I talk same like rescue. I talk same like rescue. Same like but by dogs. He's still the same guy who he's still the same guy who he's still the same guy who is relating to our limited experience. Relating to our limited experience. Just a spirit. We also have just experience by day, just experience day by day, people by day by day, by day by day, by day, economic by day, economic by night, in fact, most of them by night, in fact, most of them by night, why we sleep, most of them don't sleep, why we sleep, it's struck so hard, it is struck so hard, there is a certain duality, there is a certain human, there is a certain human, certain duality, and when it was describing humanity, and when it was describing to take, and when it was describing to take an experiment, he asked to take an experiment, with that experiment to function, to the glass experiment to function, to the glass experiment to function, to the glass of water, to the glass of water, so when you sight, it's not on one side, that is not on one side, that is not on one side, inside the water, that is not on the other side, and the point where it's more like the side, and the point where it's big, and the point where it's when you enter the glass of water, it's quite that barrier that you think is straight, not straight. It's quite that barrier that you think is straight, not straight. It's quite that barrier that you think is straight, not straight. It's bent, so it is helpful. So it is helpful to help me to. There is a duality who has there is circumstances who have situations, circumstances who have situations, circumstances, situations. Yes, I don't time like that. To help me to learn time. If I got to help me to learn time. If I got to help to consolidate that, helps to help to consolidate that and that idea, help to consolidate that and that idea of reflection.
Maybe one of you should go over there. Sorry. Maybe one of you should go over there. Sorry. Maybe one of you should go over there. Sorry. You are not supposed to get over there. I can't be the same with everyone. I can't be the same kind of friend that I can't be the same kind of friend that I can't be the kind of who I am that I am. So when you talk about me, you talk about me, talk who I understand, you talk about me, talk about for me that change about me, for me that change understanding people, for me that change understanding you can't say this understanding, you can't say this only know, you can't say this only know your own eyes, through your person is through your own eyes, through your person is through your own eyes, through your own understanding. That's it.
That's it.
Studied Guardiola Sahara Testament and Amunadi's Through the Window of the Sandcastle, because there is a way in which we tend to glorify Nigerian poetry from the 60s and 70s.
You cannot mention Amunadi. We don't talk about rapist yet. Thank you.
Okay, but Tariq Guardiola's Sahara Testament and that book, because there's a way we tend to lionize Nigerian poetry from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. But I feel that Nigerian poetry came into their own in those two books, even if he, the Igbo man, turned out to be a nasty human being. Then J. Lauren Matori's Black Atlantic Religion, because it is exponentially important for, I'm not Yoruba, I'm Igbo, but it is exponentially important for Yoruba creatives and Yoruba researchers of, or researchers of Yoruba religion and culture should read that book, because it explores the interstices and overlaps of inherited religious and cultural practices in South America, and tries to see how they differ and how they are similar to Nigerian practices. And you realize that the more overlaps, the more, for instance, the more South Americans try to exaggerate overlaps, inheritances, they pull both cultures, even if they are connected to each other, pull them so closely that gaps begin to open up at the boundaries. And at the same time, it does throw a very bright light on what she started, her speech with, her talk with, about the queer aspect of Yoruba culture and religion. You would, if you read J. Lauren Matori's Black Atlantic Religion, you would never, for instance, look at a Shango priest the same again. A Shango priest you'd never look at a Shango priest the same. You'd never look at an Osho priestess or an Obatala priest or an Eshu priest the same. You begin to see signs, you begin to see clues to things that are hidden under. And third most important book is actually not a book. It's a letter from Chinua Achebe to Taishalari. I think it is in his his collection of essays, Money Yet on Creation Day. It's a very rude letter.
Achebe is very rude.
Very rude letter. He washed Taishalari. And what did Taishalari do? He told him to stop writing in English. And he said Achebe and other Nigerian writers should begin writing in Nigerian language, probably Hausa, and Achebe just lost it, and he abused the life out of Taishalari. Accused him actually of being a Hitler supporter, but that's not the gist for me. The gist is the confidence. Achebe's confidence is, people tend to look at, for instance, Wole Soyinka's Black, what's the name of that paper again, Tazanism, New Tazanism, as the height of academic pettiness. It's not this. Achebe was petty and confident and brilliant, and I think as a writer you need both. You need a trilogy of attitudes. You need to be very petty, you need to be very confident, and you need to back that up to brilliance. And that for me is very personal, very important. Thank you.
A musician, I'm a musician that makes music that captures the essence of urban Nigeria and the tropics together. That's me too. Thank you. Yeah, so I don't read that many books, but one book that means something to me a bit was Amos Tutuola's The Palm Wine Drinker. And I guess everyone has read it. So again, I'm not a heavy book reader. It's pretty short. And that was my first proper African literature book to read. Again, because I don't read very much.
Yeah, so when I was reading it, and then he was speaking about the different types of juju things that he could do, and the different kinks and behaviors that you have to observe in Yoruba land, or the Yoruba spirit world, where, okay, if you want to see creatures, you have to look between your legs, or if you want to enter the spirit realm, you have to cross the road of the marketplace walking backwards, or stuff like that. It just helped me see more of Yoruba culture altogether, because although I'm from Edo State, I oddly identify myself as a Yoruba person. Well, yeah, I grew up in Ibadan, but still, like, I really...
How's that odd then?
Yeah, but like, I wouldn't say, if someone was asking me about Edo culture or anything, I wouldn't know anything about it. But even though I can't speak Yoruba, there's some certain things about the Yoruba people that I really resonate with, especially the artistic nature of the Yorubas. And the fact that Mostutola couldn't write English very well, and he wrote the entire book. I mean, the book that I had, he had some of his pages, like photocopy pages of his actual handwriting text, and you could see the editor crossing out so many lines, correcting his English, because English was really bad. But then I read that the people that published the book, they preferred the way he wrote his English. They wanted it to be exactly the way he wrote it by himself. I can't remember. I don't remember what the...
Actually, they were making fun of him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That's true. They were colonials, and they were like kind of a kind of snare at like like, oh, this English is so poorly written, we're going to publish it and make fun of it.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Isabel. I am an color lots of. I think someday I want to be an abstract painter that really understands like the culture, the Yoruba culture. So George's answer is interesting because I too wanted to say the palm magic, although it was one of my options. But I think I'm going to settle with Koshke. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this properly. The Deathless. It's a book by Catherine M. Valent. It has to do with Russian folklore, which I really enjoy reading about. So the book is interesting because it's talking about, there's a lot of folklore, but it's set within the war in Russia. And I really liked it.
Which of the wars?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
But it wasn't the recent one.
No. Yeah. And I really liked it because the main character, she's this woman who, and she feels special, but then it's like he's the predator. But then she now learns about the world, and then she becomes the predator, and he's in her power. So I just really liked that dynamic and the way the setting is and everything. It's a really lovely book for me.
Well, no book per se, but I would say Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda, because not because it influenced my life or changed my worldview or anything. It just made me start reading more African literature at the time. I was in JSS2, and reading that made me realize that people were actually writing things in my country, from around, that were really good too. Yeah, I'll say that. Thank you.
It's been long I read the book, and I know I learnt a lot from the book, because the major cast of the book was on his mission to save the world. He was looking for an alchemist that he can collect a drug that he can use to save the world, but on his mission, because he had to pass through so many countries, then he learned so many things, so many languages, and I think when he passed through Saudi Arabia, there was this word that I will never forget. I think the word is marked up in their language, which means everything that happened to, before anything happens to someone or anything that happens to someone is already written by a being, a supreme being. That's the meaning of that marked up, already written. So I learned a lot from the book, and it's been long I read the book. So and the second book is Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh my God.
Uncle Tom's Cabin. Yeah, it's a story about some of the themes of the book that I can remember now are slavery, love, and then I think it talks about Christianity too.
A lot.
About Christianity. It's a book on slavery. I think their master was in debt to his friend, so that his friend wanted to collect some of his slave as a means of repaying his debt. Then one of the slave overheard them when they were talking about the issue, so he went to hint Uncle Tom about what is going on. But being a Christian, you know, Uncle Tom, he went to tell Uncle Tom to run away, but being a Christian, he stayed.
Yeah,
and
because he doesn't want to run away.
yeah, exactly. So and so many things about the book.
Yeah, very nice. Not favorite, just something that changed your view, you know?
I've learned by if I could say one, but then I'll just talk about the like recent book that I read, and that's Giovanni's book by James Baldwin. I think someone said it was cliche that I could connect with it. It was written by a black queer writer, but yeah, it was a really good book. It was delicious.
Hi, I'm Chibu.
Oh baby, now
yeah.
let's eat it first.
yeah, my bad phase in life. I guess I'm here because like I said, I do nothing literary or anything. I'm here because I'm a +1 to a +1 something. Anyhow, if you're talking about books that have changed our lives, I think literally, right? For some context, I'm a yearner. I have always just been a yearner. I didn't really watch TV as a child. I had my nose in books. I was reading everything. I was reading Shakespeare, right? Literally I was reading Irish poems. I didn't understand. It's just, I would look at the thing that would translate it, I would go to the bottom at the footnotes and try to understand what it was I was reading and whatnot. But something that really brought color to my life, and also a lot of sadness, actually, was a book that my mom bought when I was 5-ish, and it was an atlas. It was this huge volume, an illustrated atlas of the world, and it tried to touch on, to be fair to it, it tried to touch on basically some key places from all the continents, right? But I am the fifth and last of my parents, right? And at this stage, they were like the academics, and I guess they were just more settled and had their noses in books as well, right? So I wasn't traveling, I wasn't going anywhere, right? And right from then, right, I guess I would read, I knew every letter, I knew every page in that thick atlas, and visitors would come to stay, and like this precocious 6-year-old would assault them with stuff from like, oh, did you know that the Tuaregs in North Africa used to do this? Did you know that the Inuit used to be called the Eskimos or that? And that was like, I have no idea where it is today, but that really did something for me, and just it informed a lot of who I am today. You just the sort of person I am, right? And just to slip in something here, much later on, I read a book by Merwin Peake, and I don't know if we know him. He, I guess, was this English writer, and he came before Tolkien, right? And because Tolkien, I guess, when we talk about fantasy in terms of huge worlds.
I first started by I stopped reading white writers, and then I stopped reading I stopped reading white male writers. I call them dead white men. You know them, Shakespeare, all the big names, yeah, all of them. Even white men that are still writing that people, Nigerian men wank over all the time and call their names like the Holy Grail, and they whisper their names because they are philosophers and very important voices in Nigeria. Anyway, then I stopped reading um, black male writers,
What did you do?
and then I focused mainly on. Then I started reading specifically stories from the East, and when I say the East, I mean the Orient. A lot of Chinese and Japanese stuff, and then I now focused. No,
Okay, so rhythm is like a repetition of a pulse. It's like something that keeps happening over time. It is predictable, which is one of the key elements of music, essentially. The reason why music is enjoyable is because you can predict it. Once you cannot predict it, then it becomes noise. There's nothing you can't perceive, you can't understand it, you can't wrap your head around it. So rhythm, just like our heartbeat, keeps going just like that. So that is the entire concept of rhythm. So people often say the difference, people try to like mix rhythm and beats together, but there's like a little bit of a distinction. So like a beat, you know when you listen to a Davido song, the beat is the, right? Or, you know, that type of energy going on every time you listen to the song. So most songs have this 4/4 time signature, which means that you have 4 beats in a bar that has 4 measures. So it's a bit hard to understand. But the main thing is that a 4/4 is 4 beats in a bar. And now a rhythm is not like a subdivision of the bass beat that has been previously established. So if I want to say something like, if I have a 4/4 beat, like, sorry, it's a bit boring, but it'll get more interesting as time goes on. Sorry. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that, then the rhythm can be Jackie wants to play a little game, right? So the little things I'm putting in between, the subdivisions of each beat that I'm making. Jackie wants to sing a little song, right? It's predictable. You guys can hear. You know what's coming next. So that's like wants to something like that. A little song. So just these little parts. So an interesting thing to think about rhythm is you have a hard beat and you have softer things accompanying. So it goes ta ta. So that's the general concept of it. Now if we look at how I'm going to take a page from your book and then talking about the colonialism mentality. That every time someone depicts Africa in a piece of Western, media, and they talk about African music, they will show like a bunch of shirtless guys, you know, and then we tend to forget ourselves. There are lots of melodic instruments within Africa as well, like the Indira, like the marimba, and there are many of them. So this is a djembe. It's a really small djembe. It's, I think, Senegalese generally, but then it slowly became the conga because they started switching out the ropes with screws and metal for ease. I mean, that makes it convenient. But this is a traditional djembe. Now, the djembe started off as being a communication tool. So just like how we have the talking drum in Nigeria as well, I need to speak to a lot of people at once, and they can't hear my voice. I can't start shouting and shrilling my voice every time. So I'm going to speak and communicate through the instrument. So if I hit a series of beats, they will understand what I mean. And then the Yorubas make it even more beautiful. You can have melodies, you can speak. You're talking to this instrument that is much louder than the voice. So music in Africa generally has more of an importance to it, at least the origins of it, or more for communication. How to speak to my friend who's far away, how to communicate what the king has said to the entire village. These are the ways by which Africans decided to communicate. So it's through rhythm. Right, so there's going to be like an interactive session. Sorry, like I want everyone to feel involved. I don't want to speak too much about it. Okay, so there's a connection between rhythm and melody. Now we're going to split the class into two. Some people are going to be doing rhythm or beats, and some people are going to be doing melody. So I'd like for some of us to sing, and then for some of us to clap. So our clapping is going to depict our beats and our rhythms, and our singing is going to show the relationship between the two. Are you guys down for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so who wants to beat the drum? Please.
Bring it.
Okay.
I'm quite good.
Okay, so everyone on this side.
Excuse me, can I get a second?
Okay, sure. Okay, so everyone on this side is melody, and everyone on this side is beat. Oh, but you like to be melody?
No, I like beats.
Okay, cool. So everyone on this side is going to be beat, and everyone on this side is going to be melody. So what I want, you guys will follow along with what Richard is doing. So Richard, just give us a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you guys should clap along with the 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now that we know what we're doing, let's go to the melody section. So now you guys, it's a bit hard, but I'm sure you guys can do it. Okay, so I'm going to break you into 3, 3, and 2.
Nice.
No! Sorry? Oh, I thought no, okay. So 3, 3, 3. Right? So if that song was something you listen to this song, would you guys enjoy it? No, not really. It's very messy. Missing, yeah. So it's boring, it's extremely predictable. Right? It's flat. There's nothing about it that excites me. Right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to change the rhythm of it. We're going to see how that connects. So this might not work, but we're going to try. Okay, so Richard, do the same thing you did, that thing, the first thing you did. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so in this case, what he's playing, he's still playing 4 for the exact same first thing we did, but he's now adding a lot more rhythm to it. So there are subdivisions in each of the 4 bars that he's playing. So let's play that again. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's exactly the same thing, but the rhythm is different. So keep playing that, and you guys will clap in 4 4. Okay, so with that, was that more enjoyable, something to listen to? Yeah. Okay, so now that we've established that adding more rhythmic components makes music more exciting. But now there's the concept that you can have a same melody or a similar melody or harmony, and if you change the beat and the rhythm, it will sound completely different each time, even though you're doing the exact same thing. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to try another beat. So Richard, you're going to go 3, 4 for me. You're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's a bit waltz-like. It gives off the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you guys should say the 1, 2, 3 as well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So then you guys go again. So now the the song now, although it's still the same things that we're singing, it has a different feel to it. It feels more, more bouncy, more. You can move your body a bit more to it. So now playing a lot of subdivisions in a 3/4 time signature is a bit complex. So we'll just that explanation that I gave with the 3/4 having a different feel is important. So let's try and do like a hip hop beat or something. So we can have both drums, and then you can go do ka do. Okay, so this has a right. So that's the energy to this giving up. So keep playing that. Alright, 1, 2, 3, go. Alright, so you guys are doing the exact same thing. 2, 1, 2, 3. So you get the idea now that like the rhythm now changes the soundscape of what we're trying to do in the first place. So there's this interesting thing that like music producers do, is that if you have a drum idea, let's say you know what the drums you want to create sound like already, and then you don't know what instruments you're going to play. There's some people that release like folders filled with different instruments, like things that they've played already. So it could be that I intended to play a jazz song, but then as long as you put that jazz song into the hip hop thing that you already have in mind, it completely changes what you're hearing. So it's not so much hip hop and it's not so much jazz, but it's kind of like you've created something in between. So I was hoping that I could play some songs, but then I don't have the jack thing. Does anybody have Apple Music with AirPods? Spotify. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's very straight, right? It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Okay, so that's an example of a 5/4 time signature. And the last one I'd like to speak about, before another good participant, is the 3/4. The 3/4 is a bit common in like Disney songs when they're waltzing, or it's like a really passionate moment, because 3/4 gives off that swing. It really relaxes. Makes you look at music in a deeper sense. So it's not so much, oh, this song is giving me good, let me dance. It's not like more, why is it making me dance? What are the components that make me feel the way that I'm feeling as regards to this piece of music? Okay, so thank you. Thank you very much for listening to it. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is a little bit complex, but I'm sure you guys are going to get it quite right. So again, we're going to split into two. So we need to be more even for this. Okay. Yeah, I guess from that pillar. So you guys are on one side, you guys are on another side. So what we're going to do is, it's called a polyrhythm. So when you now combine rhythms together, let's say you have a 4/4 rhythm, and you have a 3/4 rhythm, and you want to play them at the same time, it can give off a really weird sounding effect. It sounds very strange. So we're going to try and do that. So you guys are the 3 side, and you guys are the 4 side. Okay? So the 3 side, what I want you to do is to clap. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? So now the 4 side, we're going to get 4 beats into those 3 beats. So go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's go again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Okay, so when we're getting close to the drums, okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so let's have them play first so that we can hear ourselves very clearly. So we're going 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but then I just want you guys to hear me. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So he's still going in 3/4. So I'm going to enter with 4/4. An interesting way to visualize it is to listen to the relationship between the two. So it's like da, 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 da. That's how it sounds when you're listening to it by yourself. But like we'll have to still be able to break it down. We'll have to be able to do it in parts. So should we try again together as a group? Okay, so let's go. 1, 2, 3.
I'm doing the 1, 2. I'm doing the 3, 4.
No, just
I'm just
1, 2, 3. Just 1, 2, 3. 2, yeah, 3.
Is it like, okay, what's the, okay,
Can I have the other
wait,
one?
please, because you have to explain this to me, I will not be saying. What's the rhythm? Is it fast or slow? Are we following their rhythm?
It should be the same tempo.
It should be the same tempo.
Yeah.
Yes, just that the time signature is different. Yeah, so
It's just time signature.
Yes.
The tempo is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. So this 1, 2, 3 that we are doing, is that we're squeezing it into that same time
That they're doing
that they have to do before.
Yes,
So there's
exactly.
an overlapping.
Yeah.
So it's about really concentrating on what you are doing, and not just what we are doing.
They're doing it perfectly. If you listen, it's 1, 2, 3. You sing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. 1, 2, 3. 4. So you can hear that relationship. Okay, so let's try it again one more time. So they'll accompany you. So just listen out for your side. So he is the 3 side for you guys, and she was the 4 side. Okay. Alright, should they swap seats? Because
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
So the 4 side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is the biggest one. So you can see how, even though we have the 4/4 and the 3/4 playing at the same time, there's still a discernible rhythm that we're hearing that you can still predict. It's not so haphazard that it becomes noisy or unbearable. You can hear ta, 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 ta. That's what you're hearing in your mind. Although in essence, when you're supposed to be listening to it, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4 separately, but there's no way the human mind can process it that way. So we have to combine it and get ta 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 ta. That's exactly how we're perceiving it. So some more complex time signatures are like 7/4, where you have 7/4. So if you play 7/4 over a 4/4, you can imagine how extremely complex that would be. It would be really difficult to do that right now. It wouldn't be possible. I don't think it would be possible. No, it would be. Okay, so in that same regard, you have some songs where, especially for drummers, is that you are performing a song and then you just subtly introduce the polyrhythm into what you're playing. So let's say you are playing a song with the rest of your band, right? And the band is playing in 4/4. And if you suddenly decide as a drummer, let me play in 3/4, but the band can keep that polyrhythm, then you now have is as if the drums are finishing and starting early before the guitars do. So everything is weird, but it's still predictable, it's still enjoyable, and it's still the rhythm of the song that we're trying to, you know. So that is the main basis of the entirety. As a matter of fact, this session has more or less finished. It's pretty short, but then we can do a little more examples. Would you guys like to have more examples?
Sure. Yes, then.
Okay. So there's this concept of notes within a bar or a measure of music. So if you have a whole note goes one note per bar. So you have what's on it? 16 will be. Then second will be. Yeah, so it sounds like an EDM thing. You're preparing for a drop, right? So these concepts are important to realize what rhythm is. So let's say you have, because most beats in music right now are considered as quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So this is the major thing that we know that is common, that is peculiar to our world today. Right? So a rhythm would now be the subdivision of that. So you can divide those 4 notes into 8. Right? So you have 2 things per each beat. So like that first example I gave, Josie wants to go to her house, something like that, right? So I'm doing Josie in the space of 1 beat, right? Josie wants to sing a little song, stuff like that, right? If I now break it down further into divided by 2 again, I got Josie wants to sing a little song when she goes to school, something like that. Do you get what I'm trying to? Yeah. So rhythm essentially is just those subdivisions of music. A fun thing to think about is in trap music. You know, we hear rappers go ten I want to sing in the belt, right? But if you think about it, that's not a direct subdivision of the original beats, because these are triplets. So that's a new concept, triplet beats. So instead of having 2 beats in that bar or 4 beats in that bar, you now have 3. So it goes ta 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 ta. And it's very common in trap music. You guys listen to Migos? You guys listen to Migos?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't listen to Migos? You do? Do you listen to Migos?
I don't.
No. Do you listen to Migos? No. Okay, do you listen to Drake? Okay, so just like these concepts are familiar everywhere. So the Migos do that triplet thing very, very, very good. They like to triplet a lot. And people often say trap music is like a recent development. That concept of triplet beats has existed since the dawn of time. So it's like a resurfacing, bringing back the triplet beats. So does anyone have any questions or anything to add?
Can you make a song?
Can I make a song, but I don't have any tools to make a song.
Help us.
Okay, so let's actually do that. Let's make a song. Are you guys down to make a song? Okay. So let's decide. We're going to have the thing at 4/4, right? Since that's standard. But like, what theme do you want it to be? Are you feeling fella-ish? Are you feeling hip-hop? Are you feeling... Like, what's coming to mind? What would you like to listen to? You guys just suggest things. I want us to be free and open.
Who will start for that?
Okay, fella band. Okay. Do you think you guys can play with fella?
I'm not.
Can you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys should let's have something that comes to your mind. Fella-ish, like Nigerian. Okay, so we're already getting something that's going really nice, right? Makes you want to dance a bit. Right? So we're going to put some lyrics into what's going on. So we're going to go from person to person, and we're going to try anything that comes to your mind, really and truly. And you're just going to try as you can either like run or speak or sing with the beat that is going on, right? So should we pick a general theme? Sorry? Anything that comes to mind. Okay, so since the theme of the workshop is around nature, let's talk about nature in Africa. Let's just keep it rooted there. Okay, can we start? Are we ready to go? I'll start first. And then we'll go this way. Alright, so the only people that are not participating as the drummers, but they're already participating. Okay, alright, so we're ready.
your conclusion?
I find the four channels anyway, no, it's actually quite funny because it's the value is in capturing the value is in experiencing